Now that the battle between Tokyo and Ozuma has finally reached its end, and we're going to actually see how Ozuma is going to interact with Tokyo, this chapter we get to understand Ozuma a little bit better, but also too we get to understand Tokyo as a character way much better because Ozuma, he's wondering and knowing that is Tokyo even trying? Because throughout this chapter, between the flashbacks of Ozuma during the aftermath of between their fights, we get to understand Ozuma and he's trying to understand Tokyo. Like, why is Tokyo as the way that he is? Because he knows that Tokyo has potential, but it really bothers him that Tokyo doesn't even try. Because with this chapter, we go and we see that Ozuma, he's actually in the Yamano of Mori school, and understanding how to use his Choujin powers and actually learn the right way. And we see him has a combat training with Tokyo, and we see that he was able to win this combat training against Tokyo. And he even asked Tokyo, like, hey, have you even tried? And Tokyo, he didn't understand what he was saying, and that really ticked off Ozuma. Then later down in this chapter, we see Ozuma, he's actually met up and talked to Tokyo's older sister. And he also wanted to know, like, hey, why your brother's like this? Even Tokyo's sister's like, I don't know why he's not like this. He's just afraid of failure. He's afraid of actually trying. I don't know what's in his head. And we get a better understanding, especially from last chapter, because in the sentence where it says that he wasn't afraid of being defeated, it was the afraid of failure. And then we see Tokyo transform into this monster Choujin. It's a clear-cut understanding that how Tokyo as a character, even though he wants to help people, the main issue of Tokyo is that he doesn't want to try. Tokyo has a lack of confidence, and and we completely understand, because if Tokyo does try, he's afraid of failure. He's afraid to fail down on his luck. So it's pretty much is either accepting the failure or don't even try to go ahead and overcome the fear of failure. And that's what Tokyo has. Tokyo has the fear of failure, so he doesn't even try anything at all, because Tokyo's not independent. He's pretty much dependent. And it's crazy because Ozuma, throughout this chapter, he's hearing everyone saying, like, wow, Tokyo's a lot stronger. Wow, Tokyo has the potential to be great. Tokyo can actually do something, but this man is just holding himself back. And I think that's what really ticked off Ozuma. And he's just wondering and questioning his friendship, because this whole time he was the leader, not realizing that Tokyo could be the leader. And throughout this chapter, we see that Ozuma, he is going through this new pathway of trying to understand his friendship with Tokyo, but also too how he's going to view life. This all started when Sato, he actually met up with Ozuma after the fight with Tokyo, and he advised him that it seems like even with the fall over through the dam, a Trojan like you wouldn't stand a chance and pretty much will fall apart. And he actually see that Tokyo actually saved Ozuma from drowning and being damaged or killed from the dam. So after Ozuma, he actually gained control, and he's actually not in his cloak Trojan form. He actually meets up with the guy with the great chin. I totally forgot his name, but he tells him and he advised him that, hey, the reason why you have issues with your Trojan powers is because you have the lack of self-control, because the fact that you go to your emotional outburst, it will have a great influence to your Trojan powers. And I will take you underneath my wing so that way I can teach you the right way and how you can use your powers for the right reason. And during that course of time, we see Ozuma in his time during the Yamano Mori, how he's training and everything. And he still has kind of a stain against Tokyo, because he's even questioning Tokyo if he's even trying, and Tokyo's not even noticing that. And he's also talked to Tokyo's sister. He actually ran into Tokyo's sister, and Tokyo's sister's like, oh yeah, you're Tokyo's friend, the guy who like any parents can actually be proud of, because apparently her little brother Tokyo, he is just pretty much not even trying. Like, this man just has no motivation, no pretty much nothing to do. Like, this man is just afraid of just trying. Like, this man is allergic to actually trying. And so during that course of time with that interaction, Ozuma, he has a actual flashback of actual Tokyo when he's actually like recovering from his battle. While Tokyo is being recovered, he's surrounded with Momoma, Simon, and Ellie, and they're talking about Tokyo's encounter with the cloaked Choujin, and they're saying that how Tokyo, he was able enough to manage to survive all by himself. And even Simon is just like, man, if he could do that, he should have been able the capabilities to handle it from the start. So everyone is just wondering, like, yeah, like if Tokyo has that power to actually go ahead and beat, Ozuma in his Choujin cloak form, because remember when Ozuma pulled up, he actually beat the hell out of Momoma, he beat the hell out of Simon, and he definitely beat the hell out of Ellie. And so they were just like, man, if Tokyo has started that power up in the beginning, we would never been in this situation before. But then Ellie, she dropped like, the huge bombshell, and just like, hey, he always minds those around him. So, Tokyo, he's not selfish. He's not going to go ahead and do all of that. So we see them all, Ellie's comment kind of ticked off Simon, and Momoma, she's just trying to be the peacemaker and everything else. So, Ozuma, he's just walking and he's just trying to go ahead and get some clear air. And so he went to the beach. And while he's on his way to the ocean or to the beach, he see a cloak, and he started to have another flashback of him and Tokyo as they were kids, and how, Ozuma was pretty much the leader, the main superhero, while Tokyo was the sidekick. And during that course of time, Ozuma, he is just trying to figure out something until he noticed something on the beach laying down on the shore, and it was the hyena. The hyena from the past couple of chapters that he asked him, he was just like, hey, where's the ocean? He sees that the hyena actually died. And he is freaking out at this moment because there's a whole bunch of birds eating the hyena's dead body. And at this time, Ozuma is freaking out. Ozuma, he picked up like a rod and started swinging, and he's just yelling out, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. And he just started bursting into tears, crying while holding the dead hyena. I think that scene is very powerful because it showcased that the dead hyena was Ozuma, while the vultures that's eating its dead carcasses is Tokyo, and that's why he's having this nervous breakdown. That's why he keeps yelling out, stop it, because he just sees himself dead inside, and that the fact that he knows that Tokyo, he has the potential to overcome him, and that he sees that Tokyo is actually more powerful than him. And I think that's why he just has that nervous breakdown. But let me know down in the comment section what you guys think, what this scene means, because it has to illustrate something. But during that course of time, while Ozuma's holding the dead hyena, it says, amongst the Choujin, it says that once every generation a single Choujin is born, the power to adapt the entire world. Curiously, such a beginning has appeared in every era. The war of the Choujin Queen has divided the nations, and in the days gone by, Billy and the deathless Emperor Asura, the blessed beasts and heroes, should they have been victorious, they shall serve as the shield of deliverance for the people. But should they have been wicked, they shall serve as the blade that will forth calamity. And at this time, we see that the masked man is actually approaching to Ozuma. And this is just very, very interesting because now it seems like the masked man, it seems like he's trying to recruit Ozuma to be part of his game. And this is going to be a lot interesting for Ozuma and what he's going to do in the future. But it's also curious to see about the details about this war that happened a couple of years ago. Not a couple of years ago, but it happened like a long time ago, where it literally divided the nations between two emperors. And it's just kind of just funny to see like how this all started. But we get more details later on in this chapter or later on in future chapters about this, because it also says that being a Trojan in the world regardless is awe and envy, and being there is a rift as it's the Trojan X. This is the story of the X and those who swipe up in his tail. And then the chapter ends while we see that Tokyo, he wakes up and he says, Ozuma, what should I do? And as he's just looking up in the sky and trying to think like what his next plan is for Tokyo. But other than that, this chapter was pretty interesting. This chapter was pretty solid. And now we're going to be more focusing on Ozuma as a character and trying to understand his complex and seeing what path that he's going to take. Because some people, they said that Ozuma is going to be a villain, or Ozuma might be an anti-hero or something, especially with his breakdown. And we've seen that the masked man has appeared. So we're going to see like what he's going to do to Ozuma, because I know that he noticed that Ozuma has this great amount of power, because literally like he just literally beat the hell out of Ricardo and Ririka. So it would make sense like why he wants to try to recruit him for this other war that they're about to start, because that's what it just seems like. It just seems like ever since this war started with Trojans, that's why everyone else, they hate Trojans. They have like a disdain of Trojan. And now that we see that the principal Yamano Mori, they trying to rebuild their reputation like, hey, Trojans are not bad. Trojans are not bad. We know we fucked up in this war, but we're not those people who tries to at least cause, or who started this war, who started this divide, who started this whole destruction in Japan. No, we are the good Trojans who are here to protect you guys. And I think that's the whole purpose of the Yamano Mori, because based on the information that we got, there was this giant war that happened. And now we see that how society, they actually hate Trojans. And now that we see that the good Trojans that are fighting for the humanity, they're trying to build up that reputation and try to live amongst the humanity. But we see that the masked man, he's probably plotting on something so that way the whole world can be run by Trojan, or just cause like a whole bunch of chaos and destruction. But I don't know. Let me know down in the comment section what you guys feel like, what this meaning is towards the end of the chapter, what you guys think, what's going to be the fate of Ozuma. And other than that, if you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monster Man. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out there.